What does it mean? You raised your hand real quickly. All right, their Argyle sweater. Would you tell me what you think it means? 90% of the work is done by 10%. Thank you. That's the like the Pareto principle, like 80-20. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, right here. 90% of your results are going to come from 10%. Thank you. Right over here. Yes. 90% of what's really going on. Thank you. What else? Yeah. Love that. All that is true. Yes. Stand up and say that again. Could everybody hear that? Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you respond. We're talking about building your teams and emotional intelligence and how you show up. And I'm going to give you an example that's pretty simple, and then I'm going to give you a personal example, by the way. So let's say you're having breakfast, and I'm going to, since I'm man, if you didn't know, I am going to share from the perspective of the husband, and if you don't have that, just play along. But you're sitting at your table, having breakfast, and your daughter spills the coffee or the orange juice, and it gets all over you. And you say, "How can you be so clumsy? Honey, how can you allow her? Why did you put that orange juice so close to the edge of the table? What are you thinking? And now I'm going to be late for work. And honey, you got to be more thoughtful. What are you thinking?" What is your daughter doing? Crying. And for those of you who have middle school or junior high daughters that cry, what happens? Mascara. What happens to the mascara? So what do they got to do? They got to go take it off, and you got to go up and change. And so now your daughter misses the bus. Your wife has to go to work. She's late. She's upset. You're upset. So you come down, the wife says, "You got to take her to school. She's missed the bus." So you're driving to school, and you're going 40 and a 25. 50 and a 25. And what happens? You get a ticket. So now you're even later, you get to the school, and your daughter jumps out of the car without saying goodbye and slams the door. And you get to the office and realize that you forgot your briefcase. Your day just not going well. You come home at night, and there happens to be a wedge between you and your wife. That never happens to us, does it, honey? Why? Why did you have a bad day? Multiple choice. You. How you responded. So let's rewind the scenario. Orange juice spills. Your daughter says, "Oh, honey, Dad, I'm sorry." It's okay, honey. Just be more careful next time. You go up and you change your clothes. Your daughter goes out, catches the bus. You change your pants. It's going to be okay. You get to work 5 minutes late. What's the difference? It's how you choose to respond. And you'd be saying to yourself, "Spencer, that's really a simple example." There are things that happen in my business that I have no control over. I don't have any control over what they do at Capitol Hill. I have no control over what happens in sickness in my family. My mother was 30 years old. She had breast cancer. She taught me a very valuable lesson that goes right along with this. And she had a mastectomy. Bless you. And later in life, cancer came back. One day she came home. She gathered the family. She was a divorcee. She gathered us, the children together, and it came back as bone cancer. And she said, "The doctor's given me 6 months to live." I was 18 at the time. And she said, "You know what? We are going to live every day of these next 6 months as if it didn't exist. We are going to live life." Now, I was called just very shortly after that because of my faith. I was called on a mission to go to Rome, Italy. And she encouraged me to go because that's part of what we believe. And when I left, I didn't know if I'd ever see her again. Because we call on Mother's Day and Christmas. I happen to have a daughter that's on a mission right now in the Paris, France mission, and we've talked to her twice. So I left, and it was a tough thing. But my mom, she taught 8th grade, and she showed up. Those kids loved her. As a matter of fact, at my farewell, when they were saying goodbye to me at my church, somebody gave her a hug and broke 3 of her ribs. She got so sick, she got pneumonia, she couldn't go to school for 3 weeks. And when she got to school, they had decorated the room, they had the lights off, and they were all yelling surprise. They came over to her house. They loved her because of the impact she had. Because she lived life. She chose to live, even though the 10% happened to her. She didn't choose cancer. Now, some of you may argue some of her choices may have caused that, but I don't know. She didn't smoke, she didn't do anything else, but maybe some other things did. But you know what? She didn't choose that, but she chose how to respond. Now, she ended up doing everything she could to make herself healthy. At the time, this was back in the middle 80s, she went to Mexico for treatment because the Food and Drug Administration didn't allow certain treatments here, and chemo was just awful. She did that too. And she ended up living longer just because of a great attitude. But as I was out on my mission, I got a call one day. It was about 14 months into it. I was serving an 18-month mission at the time. And they said, your mom's not going to live to the weekend, come home. So I got on a plane on Thursday and I came home. And she lived another 6 months. And that is a tender mercy that I'm grateful for. And the point is this: she chose to live. My sister, conversely,